Before we begin, if you like what you hear on the Tan and J-Man Show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to interact with us and keep up to date with the Tan and J-Man Show on social media by liking our Facebook page and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show with your hosts Tanner Lee and Josh the J-Man Munt. It's Monday night. You know what that means. Another new episode of the Tan and J-Man Show. I'm Tanner Lee, alongside my co-host Josh the J-Man Munt. J-Man, it's warm outside.
Yes, sir. 70 degrees here in old Rochester. Championship week for college basketball. My favorite sports week of the year. Life couldn't get better.
Yeah, last year at this time, we had no idea that
clue.
A few days later, the conference tournaments, at least for the Power 5, a majority of the Power 5 would be shutting down, and sports world and the world as we know it for last year was going to be turned upside down.
Thankfully, we will get through a tournament.
Yes, it's going to be different. We talked about that last week. I'm sure we'll still mention it in the next few weeks. It's going to be a different tournament, unlike one we've ever seen before, with limited fans in all locations inside the state of Indiana. But it beats not having a tournament at all. That's for sure.
I don't think the NCAA could even survive not having a tournament. That's
probably not.
I think last year I read it was 75 to 80% of their annual revenue was the TV deals they had with the NCAA tournament. So
yep,
we should have one this year. I'm just, for some reason, I'm just waiting for something bad to happen.
Well, I mean, it's like we've talked about off air. It's this whole sports calendar year. It's the year of COVID. It's just this is not fair. Right. So you're waiting for bad things to happen to essentially screw your team over.
I mean, I think the testing protocols will be pretty good. I don't know what the testing protocols will be for the NCAA tournament. I know the Big Ten does testing every single day. Seems like every team in the NCAA tournament should be on the exact same protocols.
I would think
so. But we just don't know. So,
and I do know if there's a player or two or even three test positive for the team, that doesn't mean your team's out of the tournament.
They will play with 5 guys.
Yeah.
That's what the NCAA says. So
just hopefully we don't see any teams run into that problem.
We'll have a national championship game where Gonzaga's playing with 12 guys and you have Baylor playing with 4.5.
4.5. But we'll have more. You know, we'll know the brackets come Sunday in full. So next week we'll have our bracket predictions and all that good stuff. But this week it's all pretty much going to be a show based around Big Ten basketball. Not entirely, but a good majority of it. So,
speaking of Big Ten basketball, I have a Birdie Bogey trivia question for you here. So Tom Izzo is the all-time leader in wins at the Big Ten tournament. He has 32 wins. Can you name me who's second in that
I got a pretty
Big
good
Ten
idea.
tournament? I think you'll probably get it. It's a pretty easy one in my opinion. But that is the Birdie Bogey, brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC. Fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook. Follow them on Instagram and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. Get your veg.
And before I forget, I'm rocking one of my mini Tan and J-Man Show merchandise. My only sweatshirt, but one of my many different pieces of clothing I got, I guess. Right now we got a deal going on. It's got to run for almost the next month through April 6th. If you get on our merchandise website, which you can find on the link on any of our social media pages, and you type in the promo code MADNESS, all caps, at checkout, you can get 20% off select items. So
get some merch.
Great time to get yourself a short sleeve t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, a hoodie, some Book It merchandise, t-shirt, coffee mug, whatever you want. We probably got it. So no hats yet. I'm still waiting to do that one of these days.
I need to get myself a short sleeve shirt. Had to break out the short sleeve shirt today, and I unfortunately don't have a Tan and J-Man.
Well, you might as well get yourself
use the March Madness promo.
Use the Madness code. Get yourself a Book It. It is your segment. So
yeah, I have a real bad habit of buying a white T-shirt then eating spaghetti.
I don't think, because I designed the Book It one, I don't think I put white as an option. I might. No, actually, I think I did.
I ruined my first Tan and J-Man Show shirt because I just happened to eat spaghetti.
Doesn't surprise me. No. And you don't want to wear a bib. Nobody wants to wear a bib.
Do we have bibs on there? Because I'll buy a Tan and J-Man Show bib.
We don't, but that's a good idea. That is a good idea. Let's get right into it. Let's get right into Big Ten basketball talk. I got some notes and some different things here. I got to find it here in my sheet. Here we go. Here's some Big Ten tournament facts for you. And actually, this first one isn't a Big Ten tournament fact. It's just a Big Ten season fact. Purdue is the first Big Ten program to sweep Ohio State, Michigan State, and Indiana in 2 regular season series since Illinois in 1989.
Flying Illini.
Surprised me. I did.
Yeah.
I figured somebody did that since then. But historically, Indiana, Ohio State, and Michigan State are pretty good. So
yeah.
I guess they don't really. The rest of these are Big Ten tournament facts. This year is the 23rd edition of the Big Ten tournament. Michigan State has the most wins all time with 32. They have the best overall record, a record of 32-16. They have the most titles with 6. Ohio State's second in the most titles with 4. Wisconsin's third with 3. Ohio State has played in the most title games in 8, followed by Michigan State and Wisconsin at 7 apiece, Illinois with 6, Purdue and Michigan with 4 each, and Iowa with 3. Indiana has never won the Big Ten tournament. It's only made the championship game once, and that was in a loss to Iowa in 2001.
That was a long time ago.
Ohio State and Michigan have each had one of their Big Ten tournament titles vacated. Michigan was the very first one, and Ohio State's was 2002, I believe. Purdue is 14-21 in the Big Ten tournament. Indiana is 13-22, so both programs haven't been very good, even though most of Purdue's success has been within the last few years. Northwestern has the worst overall record of 9-23.
Of course they do. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We supposedly can still be heard, but our picture is for whatever reason frozen.
Well, I can try something to make that.
You can see our purdy faces. Big Ten tournament is about to start Wednesday. I'd love to hear Northwestern's dead last in win percentage because they're just a garbage program. But yeah, I think you going through those notes kind of gave my trivia question away a little bit. Do you want to guess right now?
We should be back on. Hopefully somebody
we're
can
back
let
on.
us know. Do I want to guess right now? No, I don't,
Okay.
because I got a lot of other things. Too many things going on right now to comprehend.
I have another trivia question. That's bonus for you. So, for some reason, records for the Big Ten tournament are not held very well or kept very well because the only box scores I found for the Big Ten championship game went back to 2009. Couldn't find any before that.
That's weird.
Was all over Google today trying to find it. Can you name from 2009 to 2019 who the leading scorer in the Big Ten championship game is? Single game Big Ten championship.
Can you give me the matchups each year?
No.
There's no way, because I can't give you the matchups each year off the top of my head.
It's a shocker. It happened.
You mean each year?
No.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to name it each year.
No.
Okay.
Just the guy who has the most
it.
points from 2009 to 2019 in one Big Ten. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I'll even give you the year. It was the last Big Ten tournament we had, 2019.
Who the heck played in that game?
Michigan State.
Okay. Was it? Oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh, he's a guard. Oh, what's his name? Shot a lot of hook shots.
Shot a lot of. I know who you're thinking.
But it's not. It must not be him. But
it might be.
What is his name? Played for Michigan.
Xavier Simpson.
Yeah.
No. Matt McQuaid.
Forgot he even played Big Ten basketball.
He had 27 points in the 2019 championship.
Xavier Simpson. How? Oh man! And we are back on.
We are back live.
Live TV. You never know the ups and the downs. But Big Ten tournament this week. The bracket's set. I don't have it pulled up in front of me.
I do not have a bracket, but I kind of wrote it out here. Wednesday night, we have the 12-seeded Northwestern Wildcats against the free-falling, imploding Minnesota Gophers.
I got notes on every team.
All right, let's hear it.
This is courtesy of my dad, Eric Lee.
Biggie.
I'll give him credit for this. So Northwestern, 3-0 to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they went 0-13 in the middle of the year.
They were ranked like 19th.
They were ranked in 19th. 3-0 to begin the end of the year. So they got a little mojo going for them and heading into the Big Ten tournament. So Chris Collins, I think he's going to be okay. Minnesota, they had the most home games by far out of all the conference teams. 13-4 at home, 0-10 on the road. Life away from the barn, not good for them.
They lost their final 3 home games because they were 13-1.
Bunch of barn animals.
At one point. Richard Pitino's gone. I can't imagine a scenario where he's back. He even mentioned it. Said, all I'm hearing about is how I'm going to lose my job, but I'm just trying not to think about that. So I think Richard, after they beat Purdue, they were sitting there 13-7, looked like they were going to be like a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament. Not even close now. They have to win the whole thing in order to get into the NCAA tournament. And
the one thing I feel bad for him is he lost their second best player and third best player. Their second best player got banged up at least, and the third best player's been out for a while, but that's part of it.
It's part of the game. So, I don't do those players. Liam Robbins is a good.
Kalashar can hit some threes.
But he's not that great of a shooter. Is the thing. He can.
You're right.
He's known as a good shooter, but he's shooting. I don't know what his percentage is this year, but last year was really bad. Honestly, this Minnesota team wasn't even projected to be that good coming in, and then looks like they were going to be good. They got up to, I think, 19th in the country as well. But then they just have completely imploded here down the stretch, losing to Northwestern and Nebraska. That's indefensible in itself. And then getting absolutely annihilated at Penn State last week. So I think old Richie's gone.
Who are you going to take in that game?
I'm taking Northwestern. I think they're the hot team. Minnesota's not. I just think Minnesota's kind of folded.
I'm taking Northwestern.
Phoned it in. We have the 11th seeded Penn State Nittany Lions coming off win on the road at Maryland, where they got down 12-0 to start the game, and they were down 9 with about 4 minutes left and came back and beat Maryland last night. Maryland could be sweating it out on Selection Sunday with their past 2 losses against Northwestern and Penn State. Penn State faces the 14th seeded Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Yeah, Penn State, they've been an interesting team this year. They're always aggressive. They're going to shoot a ton of threes. Did you know, Josh, they've lost 7 games by 5 or less points or in overtime?
Say that again?
They've lost 7 games this year by 5 or less or in overtime.
Nebraska?
Penn State.
Oh, Penn State. Yeah, they're pretty close to being right there. Their net ranking's not too bad for being, I think they're 10-13 or so. Nebraska's been right there as well a few games. So
Nebraska, the only thing my dad has written down here, and I agree, is they're better without Teddy Allen.
I agree. He's their leading scorer, but he just seemed like a cancer for whatever reason. They play hard, though. It's going to take Hoiberg a while to kind of figure out what he needs to do to make them at least a contender for a middle-of-the-pack spot in the Big Ten. But I think he'll ultimately do it eventually. But give me Penn State in this one.
Yep, I like the Nittany Lions. No doubt about it.
The first game on Thursday, we have the Michigan State Spartans, who are streaking right now and have cemented themselves in the NCAA tournament.
They have 3 top 5 wins this year.
Ugh, it's disgusting.
You know they're going to make a run. We knew it.
We'll be sitting here in 2 weeks and be like, well, they're in the Elite Eight.
Even though I will say I thought they were dead in the water a few weeks ago.
Yeah, but hey, credit them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Aaron Henry's as good as most players in the conference. He's a star.
Yeah, Michigan State, they're 4-10 versus teams projected in the top 3. 4-10 versus teams projected in the tournament. 3 of their wins, though, are the big ones. So the big 3 of those 4 wins are against the big boys.
All at home, though.
Yeah.
Illinois, Ohio State, and Michigan. But again, they played really well yesterday against Michigan to beat them. They played great against Ohio State, played great against Illinois. They're doing what they usually do around this time of year, and
we both did pretty well in predictions last week. We really stunk the Rutgers-Nebraska prediction.
That was a bad one, and that was Monday night.
Besides that, we did pretty well last week. We both had Sparty beating Michigan the second time.
I don't think any one of us thought that Illinois without Ayo Dosunmu would go in and beat Michigan.
No,
we didn't beat them by 23 points.
No.
Michigan State, Sparty, faces the 8-seeded Maryland Terps, who are reeling right now.
They have the most pressure out of anybody going into the tournament, I'd say. They have to beat Michigan State. They lose to Michigan State, I don't think they get in.
If they do get in, they'll be one of the last teams in. They have a really good resume, though. Have road win at Illinois. They have wins against they have win against Purdue at home. They have a win at Wisconsin. So they have good wins. Just
do you think
two really bad
if
losses
they don't
lately.
get in the tournament, that Turgeon's on the hot seat going into next year?
I don't know. They were pretty dang good 2 years ago.
Well, last year they tied for the Big Ten.
That's what I
championship,
meant. Last year
of
they
course
tied
they didn't have the
for
tournament.
Big Ten. So
yeah,
this team wasn't even supposed to be a tourney team coming in, and they're looking like they're gonna be in. So I can't imagine he's on the hot seat.
You know, one thing I meant to do, and now I'm really mad at myself. I meant to go back and see where we had our projections of the Big Ten.
I don't think
I know I didn't
have
save
them
mine. I
anymore.
used to have mine down here, and I don't.
Yeah, I didn't save mine. I know I had Illinois 1, Iowa 2.
I think I had those vice versa.
You did.
Then I had Wisconsin 3.
Which I had Wisconsin, I think, right where they finished, which was 6th or 7th.
I know I had Purdue 9th.
I think I had Purdue 8th or 9th as well.
I had Indiana 6th, I want to say. I had Michigan a lot lower than, of course, they ended up.
And I think I had Michigan 3rd.
Yeah.
So, did you read any facts about Maryland?
Yes, they're in the most tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Or the most pressure, and they have to be Michigan State.
Then I have who you picking? I guess we didn't pick.
I'm taking Michigan State.
I'm taking Michigan State as well. Then we both have the 12-seeded Northwestern Wildcats versus the 5-seeded Ohio State Buckeyes, who are losers of 4 in a row.
Yeah, Ohio State's lost 4 in a row, including 3 at home. They've lost 6 games by 6 points or less.
Yeah, they're right there.
They are right there. That's why I don't think we're seeing them fall in the rankings at all, because they're still in the top 10, even though the rankings are pointless.
At this point, yeah.
At this point. But I don't know. I think they are a good team. I don't want people to get mad and Buckeye fans come after me and say I don't think they're good, because I do think they're good, but I don't think they're as good as 2 weeks ago when their ranking was showing.
Sure.
I don't even know if they're 2-seed good, if that makes sense.
I'm 100% with you. They had all those wins early where they looked just unbelievable, and they've kind of regressed to the mean a little bit of where we thought they'd be.
Yep.
Of course, really good team and probably capable of making a run to a Final Four.
I think a lot of the teams in the Big Ten are capable, but a few of them also I think will get knocked out early in upsets. It just kind of.
And I would say Ohio State's one of those teams because they don't have size, which hurts them. It helps them kind of offensively because E.J. Liddell's a mismatched nightmare for real big guys, kind of like Kofi Coburn. But, I mean, their lack of size will hurt them. They shoot the 3 ball really well, though, but they don't score many paint points. And so if they go cold from 3, they're going to have a hard time scoring.
It's going to be fascinating how Big Ten teams fare in the NCAA tournament because it's the best conference in America this year. So will that benefit them by playing teams that aren't in the Big Ten, or is it going to hurt them a little bit with different styles? It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know.
I could see some teams playing tight just knowing that, man, we could win it this year, but at the same time, we have to win it for the Big Ten because the Big Ten hasn't won one in 21 years.
Yeah, Ohio State or Michigan State in 2000. I mean, we've had teams make it there, but it's embarrassing.
You taking Ohio State?
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Ohio State as well. We have the 10-seeded Indiana University Hoosiers playing the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
Indiana's played 16 of 26 games versus teams that Joe Lunardi has in. They went 3-13 in those games.
Their only saving grace right now are their 2 Iowa wins.
They lost in overtime to Wisconsin, Illinois, and Florida State.
Yeah.
You turn those 3 into wins, maybe they're sitting on the other side of the bubble. 100%. Right now, they're 9 on the bubble, I wouldn't say.
I think they have to at least get to Sunday just to even.
I think you're right.
Be back in the conversation. I don't even think that puts them in. I think they have to win the whole thing.
They just don't shoot well enough.
No.
And they don't really have a big guy. I mean, Trace and Race are kind of big, but they're not bona fide centers.
No.
You get them in foul trouble, and they got nothing.
Trace gets to the free throw line and dunks. I don't know if he's really that skilled.
That's it.
I mean, he's a great athlete. Loyal listener, Rhett Lee had a tweet this morning. I'm going to go look it up here. He said, Rutgers is a tough draw for #IUBB, who can't seem to match up against teams with players and coaches.
Yes, and Rhett Lee is a new sponsor of our podcast, one of our segments, which we'll get into. So I really appreciate him being a loyal listener and a new sponsor. But that's a classic comment.
Yeah, that's a good one. You said anything about Rutgers?
No, I'm sorry. Let's see here. Rutgers, they're 4-8 versus teams projected in the tournament. Only the Illinois wins keeping them in my dad's opinion.
Yeah, and I mean that happened before Christmas when Illinois wasn't playing that good and Rutgers was playing out of their mind. So I don't think the way they're both playing now, I don't think Rutgers would even come within 15 points of Illinois, which that's who Illinois would play if Rutgers were to win. Are they? It's hard to say they're the most disappointing team in the Big Ten because they're probably going to be in the NCAA tournament. But I think most people thought they'd be on like that 3 or 4 seed line instead of that 8, 9.
They were
10.
better last year.
I agree, and they got every single player back essentially.
But Pikel's done something kind of like Chris Collins, but instead of it being the first time school history, Pikel's got him to their first tournament now since '91. So he's probably a lifer.
Yeah,
if he wants to be.
Assuming they make it, which
I think they're
that Nebraska loss was bad,
but they probably need to win this one just to
feel okay.
Yeah.
And I think they do. Indiana just feels like they've just phoned it in. They don't play that hard.
They played
score.
hard the other day.
Really?
Saturday, they could have gave up multiple times. They kept playing hard. Of course, though, you have 2 seniors, Race Thompson and Al Durham, who've never beat Purdue in their careers. That probably helped a little bit. I mean, the senior class students at Purdue or at Indiana, they never beat Purdue, and barring a deep Big Ten tourney run, they never saw their team make the NCAA tournament. They would have last year. Isn't that wild?
It's crazy.
I mean, their senior class probably never would have guessed they were going to be more of a football school by the time they graduated than basketball, but here they are. So I am taking the Scarlet Knights as well.
We're on the same page once again as we have been pretty much all year, picking Big Ten games. I think Rutgers gets it done. Rutgers still fighting for something. I think Indiana's just completely given up. Their coach is gone, in my opinion, I don't know. I think
it's a close call, I think. I'm starting to agree with you, though, but I don't know. I've listened to some national college basketball podcasts that think he's going to be back, so I don't know. But my question is, if he comes back or not, what's going to change for them next year?
Nothing. They'll have the same roster.
Yeah, and assuming Jackson Davis leaves, maybe. But if he leaves, they got one recruit coming in next year. One.
Nothing's going to be different.
So they're going to be bad next year, even if they get a new coach. It might take a little bit of time.
They don't have guards that can score. Archie has to put his ego aside and try some different sort of offensive system.
Yeah, because this freshman class was rated number 2 recruiting class in the Big Ten, and they barely score any points per game.
Archie Miller and Brad Underwood were hired pretty much the same day, almost.
Yeah.
Underwood's first 2 years, awful. He completely scrapped his entire defense, entire offense he's run his whole career, switched it to something different. They're ranked 3rd in the country right now. Archie, same thing every single year. They're bad in year 4. There was no part of me that thought Archie would be a bad basketball coach for Indiana University, and here we are talking hot seat.
I wasn't sure if he'd be a home run, but I thought he'd be a lot better than this.
Sure.
I thought he'd be getting into the tournaments.
He is John Gross. Archie Miller's 33 and 44 in Big Ten play in his career. Can't score. Good defensive team, but if you can't score, you're not going to win.
Some coaches are just more of a mid-major coach.
Right.
Maybe he fits that category.
I mean, he had good teams at Dayton, but he had like one team that made a run to the Elite Eight. That's kind of what John Gross did at Ohio.
You make a run, you get that national pub, and ADs are like, oh, this guy's a guy.
Nope.
Yeah, Daryl Hazel, that worked out great in football. Next game, we
both had Penn State beating Nebraska, and they would play the 6th seed Wisconsin Badgers.
This could be a good one.
Yeah.
This could be a good one. Bucky the Badger there. They're listen to this. 14-2 when Bo Borowski doesn't ref.
They're what?
14-2.
I saw Wisconsin fans whining about that.
2-9 when he does. So no wonder why Greg Gard yesterday said every effing time, Bo. Bo is the worst. They're the best. Their best Big Ten win is against Rutgers or Maryland. They've lost 5 of their last 6, but they're ranked 11th in KenPom. How?
I don't get it. I mean, Ken Pom, I'm not a big Ken Pom guy.
I'm not either.
Just because, I mean, you see bad teams that are way up in Ken Pom because they have all this offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, all this strength of schedule, all that. Makes
numbers.
Nothing, because Wisconsin's not a good basketball team. Wisconsin, I guess you could say, is the most disappointing in the Big Ten.
Yeah, you called them right away. You called them frauds.
I thought they were frauds last year.
Were awesome in the non-conference. I'm like, they're older than a lot of coaching staffs in America. I'm like, they're going to make a run.
Their best win in the non-con was Loyola.
Looks like a pretty good one now.
It's a good win, but it was a home win.
Yeah.
I just don't think
I don't put a lot of stock into the home and away stuff this year.
Not this year, but still. I mean, you have to win at home.
Yeah.
You got to try to find a way to win on the road.
I guess you got your familiarity. Mm-hmm. That's a tough word for me to say. With the rims and the shooting backgrounds and yada, yada, yada. Sleeping in your own bed the night before, yada, yada, yada. But
the travel, yada, yada.
I am taking the Badgers in this one.
I'm taking Penn State.
All right, we finally differ.
Penn State blew them out in Happy Valley this year. Yeah. Wisconsin got them in Wisconsin. I don't know why I'm picking Penn State because I thought they folded a couple weeks ago as well. Now they've rattled off 2 in a row.
They'll be looking for a new head coach here soon. Probably already got one kind of finalized. It just hadn't been.
Yeah, they're kind of
I's haven't been dotted and T's haven't been crossed.
Yeah, having that interim guy set them up to be ahead of the curve in the coaching search. First game Friday, we both have the Michigan State Spartans against the Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah, Michigan's 9-2 versus teams in the tourney, according to Joe Lenardi. They, by far, have the fewest games against NCAA tournament teams.
Yeah.
But, of course, we've talked. I mean, they should have – well, they didn't. They didn't, but they probably should have played 3 more games.
Absolutely.
But they didn't. I think they're starting to wake up a little bit. I still think they'll be a 1 seed. They're very talented.
Yeah,
they can make a deep run, but they're one of those teams I could see getting knocked out early. But I think they beat Sparty. But hey, they split this last week, so
I agree. Michigan's played so few road games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois has won more road games than Michigan's played.
Yeah,
Illinois has won 9 road games. Michigan's played 8. Michigan just kind of won the Big Ten by default because of a win percentage thing. But if you look at the standings on the Big Ten Conference website, they have Illinois a half game ahead of Michigan.
Yeah.
It's screwed up. But can't change it. Give me Michigan.
And it's interesting, too. There's other conferences like Oregon, the Pac-12, the same thing. They played less games. And then Villanova in the Big East played less games than Creighton.
Not fair.
No, but stupid whole year hadn't been fair.
It's Kevin Warren's fault.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
I hate him.
Now you're on the train I was in football season.
He has no transparency at all. None. He makes a decision, doesn't say another thing about it, gives no explanation. It's just he's created this culture of secrecy. No one knows what's going to happen. He needs to resign. He's killing them.
Can you imagine come fall if every other conference is allowing full stadiums and he says no?
Says no. Yeah.
He will have to resign, I think.
Yeah,
that happens.
He's. I mean, I empathize with him in the fact that his first year on the job, he deals with a once-in-a-generation pandemic. But at the same time, he's screwing up constantly.
And I agree with you there. But a year ago today, I would not have believed you if somebody would have told both of us, you guys are going to wish Jim Delaney was still commissioner a year from now. I was glad when the guy retired, but come back, Jim. I
was going to say, we clearly didn't know. I think the only reason why we didn't like Delaney is because he added Rutgers.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much.
He did so much for the conference looking back.
He did.
I'm taking Michigan as well. The Ohio State Buckeyes trying to finally beat Purdue this year.
Yeah, it's not easy to beat a team 3 times. Purdue's on a roll, though. They're 11-3 in their last 14 games. Lost 2 of those 3 when Sasha Stefanovic was out. They got a break in the schedule playing the big boys early and playing a lot of them only once. Michigan, Iowa, Illinois only once. Rutgers only once. But they did only play Northwestern once. And by COVID, only Nebraska once. So that was kind of a bummer because really – oh, well, never mind. They end up tiebreaker over Ohio State. Are they for real, though? I'm kind of still scared. I mean, this amazing job Matt Painter's done. Best job he's ever done with the team this year. I still think they're a year ahead of schedule, though. They should have been this good next year. But now next year, I'm going to go in with a lot of expectations, which I didn't have this year. My goal for this team at the beginning of the year was make the tournament. I'm on record saying that. Heck, I even wanted to be on the bubble. Now it's, and I'm not trying to get too greedy, win one game and then say tournament. After that, it's gravy.
Sure.
A lot of other Purdue fans are telling me Sweet 16 at least. I'm not ready to go there because this is still a young team that gets very hot and cold with their shooting, but thankfully their big guys can usually pull them out. Trayvon Williams has not played well the last 3 games, but all of a sudden Big Maple, Zach Edey, he's woke up and played like a monster lately.
It's funny seeing a guy like Nate Reavers try to guard him.
Not close.
Reavers is 6'10" and he plays like he's 5'4".
Yeah.
I've never seen a big guy play so small.
But with all that said, unfortunately, I'm picking the Buckeyes. I just don't like the chance to beat them three times.
I think this is a coin flip game. Ohio State's not playing well. Purdue's rolling, and I agree. Matt Painter should be, and we'll go through our awards here.
Which I didn't write any down, but they're up here.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did.
Brain.
Matt Painter should be Big Ten Coach of the Year easily. I don't think he's going to win it because I think it's going to be Juwan Howard.
And that's understandable.
I
can even make a case with Brad Underwood. I can make a case for all 3 of them, but yeah, you're right.
It's usually the team that wasn't supposed to be good that is good, kind of like Purdue, because coming off a year last year where they weren't going to be in the NCAA tournament.
Lost 2 starters from a team last year. I never would have guessed.
Addition by subtraction, clearly,
Absolutely.
which I think that's what most people thought losing Eastern to begin with, but I don't even know how Harms is doing out.
He won their conference's Defensive Player of the Year. Wow. I saw that, but he averaged very similar numbers at Purdue. Actually shot it a little more poor this year than he did.
Probably usage was higher too.
He wanted the ability to shoot more threes, and he got it, and he didn't make as many. So,
with that said, for the exact same reason that you picked Ohio State, I'm also picking Ohio State. It's so cliche in college basketball to say that it's tough to beat a team 3 times, but
it is, though.
It's so difficult, and they're going to be up for it.
Sure.
I think it'll be a 1-point game at the end.
Yeah, their first 2 matchups were close ones. So
I mean, again, Purdue has a size advantage over them, but Ohio State shoots it a little better. If Ohio State's shooting threes, they're going to be tough to stop it. They go cold in a heartbeat, kind of like they did against Illinois.
I'll tell you, Purdue's got a couple guys that are playing well now that they didn't back in. Aaron Wheeler the last 4 games. Where the heck have you been all year? He's showed up. He's been a big difference the last 4 games.
The game in Ohio State was kind of Jaden Ivey's coming out party, wasn't it?
Hit that buzzer beater. Or not
late.
The buzzer beater, the shot at the end again win. And now he's looking pretty promising future. Yeah. So, yep.
We have both have Rutgers facing the Illini.
Yeah, your Illini here. No bad losses all season.
I think... I don't know with Maryland losing to Penn State if that drops them below the top 30. So that'd be a quad.
I don't call it a bad loss.
It's not a bad loss, but it's still a quad 2 loss.
So only losses against tourney teams: 3-0 against the top 4 in the conference, 10-0 against the bottom 5, 3-4 versus seeds 5 through 9. That's kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
5 through 9.
Yep.
Lost to Ohio State. Lost to Maryland.
Rutgers.
Lost to Rutgers. And Michigan State.
Yep.
That makes sense. That is strange, though.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, they took care of the big boys and took care of the bottom feeders.
Barely took care of the bottom feeders a few times.
Yeah,
but,
hey, doesn't matter.
I mean, Illinois is playing. They're as hot as anyone in the country. They've won 11 of their last 12. Ayo Dosunmu breaks his face, has a concussion.
A weird-looking mask.
He liked it because he thought it made him look like a superhero. That's why he put it on. And he comes back. He was supposed to be eased back into things, and he scores 19 points on 10 shots, including 6 of their final 9 to close out Ohio State on Saturday. That was the best week of Illinois basketball that they've had in I don't know how long. I mean, without their best player, they go into Michigan, who ends up winning the conference by default. And Andre Curbelo and Trent Frazier were just phenomenal, and they beat Michigan by 23 points. And they go on the road against Ohio State. Illinois gets down 4 with about 2.5 minutes left, and DeMonte Williams hits a huge 3 to tie it, and then Ayo takes over, and they win 2 road games against top 10 teams that they won, which they hadn't done that. They have now beaten 6 top 10 teams on the road since 1991. 3 of them came this year. At Michigan, at Ohio State, at Duke. That was the one I have to be quiet because Duke ended up not being very good.
Who would have ever thought that, huh?
Yeah.
Start of the year?
Crazy.
I'm not mad about it.
Me either. But Illinois is playing superb basketball. I think Ayo's injury helps them going forward. It might be a blessing in disguise because Curbello's just been awesome here the past 4 or 5 games. Kofi's been consistently good. Adam Miller had a good stretch of basketball. DeMonte Williams hitting huge shots. Jacob Grandison's been great. I think they're set up to do some pretty dang good damage, so I'm taking the Illini.
Don't hate me for this. Oh, I'm taking Illinois too, but I'm making a statement here. Don't hate me for this. I'm not trying to jinx them.
I don't know if I can hate hate you more than I already do.
That's fair enough. Not trying to jinx you here, but out of the big, I'll say top 5 seeds in the Big Ten right now for Big Ten tournament going into the NCAA, I think they're the one that's the safest, at least, to make the Sweet 16.
I hate you.
Like the other ones, I think are more capable of getting upset. I'm really not trying to put a hoax on them, but I think they're that complete compared to the rest.
I agree.
But you're always going to be nervous, though.
I'm going to be.
You don't know.
I think they locked in a 1 seed beating Ohio State.
I think so too.
Even if they lose to Rutgers, I'm going to be sweating bullets facing that 16 seed. They've played up and down to their competition all year. Could be a little tight. Haven't been to the NCAA tournament in 8 years. I'm fully expecting that to be a tie game with 10 minutes left, and I think Io ultimately takes over and wins. But I'm going to be I'm getting nervous talking about it right now.
well, I mean, this is their best chance in a long time to do something. And
went to the Final Four in 1989. 16 years later, went to the national championship game. 16 years later, here we are. So once every 16 years, Illinois has a really good team. But I agree with you. I think they have the best chance out of all of them to get to a Sweet 16.
And I hate it, and I'm not saying this is going to happen for Illinois, but like one of the better Purdue teams I've seen in my lifetime a few years ago was that 17-18 team. They were Kate Beta Diop tipping from winning the Big Ten.
Right.
Then they got second in the Big Ten and second in the Big Ten tournament. They lost to Michigan, got Sweet 16 and got bounced. I hate that team didn't at least get something.
Sure.
And that's always a scary thing.
It's
part of college sports.
And that's the crappy thing about COVID because
yes.
they just won 16 of 20 games in I'm going to throw Ken Pom out here in the greatest Ken Pom league ever since Ken Pom was created. Again, not a big Ken Pom guy, but they just won. They won 2 more games than Michigan and only 1 more loss than Michigan, and because of the win percentage, which again Michigan probably wins those 3 games they were to make
probably,
up.
But
at
you never
Penn
know.
State, was it at Penn State? Yeah, at Penn State, at Northwestern, and Indiana at home.
But maybe they get
an
injury.
You just never know.
Maybe they get an injury in those
never
3
know.
games.
I mean, Penn State beat a couple teams at home this year they probably shouldn't have. Northwestern did as well. So you just never know. Is what it is. Have bigger banners to hang. Hopefully this puts a chip on their shoulder because they've played with a chip on their shoulder all year, and hopefully, who knows. But yeah, I'm taking the Illini. I have the Penn State Nittany Lions. I think this is the only game we've differed so far. Penn State Nittany Lions versus the Iowa Hawkeyes Friday, and you have Wisconsin versus the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Good game yesterday until Bo Borowski does what Bo does and took it over. Iowa's 9-4 against teams that are in the tournament. 3 losses against teams who are out. Big question is how badly injured is Joe Wieskamp?
Yeah.
Went down yesterday.
He started the game 5 for 5 from the floor. Did he roll his ankle?
Did something to his ankle, yeah. That's big, but...
It's huge. He's their second best player,
You got to pick the Hawkeyes here, but that gives me reserve.
I'm picking the Hawkeyes as well, regardless of who they play. But again, I have them playing Penn State. It's tough for a team to win 3 games in a row because they're just going to be exhausted. So give me the Hawks.
I wonder if Bo's going to ref that game if Wisconsin's there.
I hope so. I don't like Bo, but I hate Wisconsin more. So we both have the Ohio State Buckeyes versus the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday. That first
the
game.
rivalry game. Their matchup in Columbus was an instant classic. I think it's going to be another good one, but give me the Wolverines.
Give me Michigan as well. It's going to be crazy. We're going to see upsets. Probably Michigan loses to Michigan State on Friday.
I hope Northwestern or Minnesota beats Ohio State.
I would too.
Minnesota's got Purdue's number sometimes, so I don't know if I want to.
I will go on record and say if Minnesota wins 1 game in this tourney, I'm going to be very surprised. I'm not going to say anything outlandish because it'll probably happen. I'm taking Michigan as well. Then we have the Iowa Hawkeyes versus the Illini.
It's a big game for you.
Hate Iowa.
Did they play twice this year?
Once. So this is the
Who got who there?
Illinois. Beat them by 5 in Champaign.
Okay. Well, I honestly didn't know, so I was going to pick the loser of that game, so I'm taking the Hawks.
Man, I'm tempted to take Iowa as well, but I've told myself I'm not picking Illinois to lose the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, hey, if I was in your shoes, I probably wouldn't either.
I'm taking Illinois, although coin flip.
Yeah.
If Wieskamp doesn't play, though, obviously I feel a lot better.
Sure.
They shut down Garza. As well as you can shut down Garza. He still had 19 points, but that's below season average, and he only had 4 rebounds.
Yep.
Give me Illinois. I have Illinois, Michigan. You have Iowa, Michigan.
Yeah, give me the Hawks.
Wow.
Yeah.
No one's really talking about Iowa right now either.
That's scary. I'm not as high as them as I was at one point.
No, they don't play any defense.
I think the Big Ten's the best conference, like I've said, but I don't know. I just don't know going into the ball. I'm so confused. My bracket's going to be terrible next week.
Be awful.
Might as well just light it with a lighter right now.
I'm taking Illinois. As I said, I'm not picking the losers.
I don't blame you.
So, man, this is my favorite week of the year, sports-wise.
Yeah, you're pumped. You got
so pumped.
You got a little pep in your step today.
Even when Illinois is awful, I still love this week. I got pep in my step. It's 70 degrees outside. We got championship week. I ate some Arby's tonight.
Yeah.
Life couldn't get better.
Wait 15 minutes in the drive-thru, but yeah.
Big Ten awards are going to be announced at noon tomorrow on the Twitter. Big Ten Player of the Year. Who is it?
Garza.
Yeah, I agree. Who I would pick is Io, but again, Garza's going to be the pick. Even
when it was close, just missing.
Those 3 games hurts
yeah.
Especially for the fact that Illinois won all 3 of them. I think that hurts Io a little bit. If you're doing a most valuable player award, which this isn't a most valuable player, it's definitely Garza. You take Garza off that team, and they're a middling bubble team.
Yeah, I'd say Kofi, like we talked about before we started recording, Kofi's probably more valuable to Illinois than Io.
Yeah, they wouldn't have any size without him. Io, though, impacts the game far more than Garza does. He's the best closer in college basketball. I've seen some national guys starting to call him Mariano Dosunmu. He plays defense. He held Dwayne Washington to 6 of 18 shooting on Saturday, and 3 of those buckets were against Adam Miller. But I would pick Io, but it's going to be Garza. Coach of the year, we both said this earlier, should be Painter, but it's probably going to be Jawan.
Yep, I agree, unfortunately.
What's the other one? Freshman of the year, it's going to be Dickinson.
Yeah.
So I think it's pretty set in stone, those 2.
Yep.
I know of some beat writers that are going to take Io. I just don't know if there's going to be enough of them.
Yeah.
But man, I love this week.
Yeah, let's not. We'll talk about the first team next week. We got a few other things.
Huge football news, real quick. Old Dak Prescott just signed a 4-year, $160 million deal back with the Cowboys.
Didn't see that coming.
$126 million guaranteed. It's an NFL record.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. So
the first 3 years,
I don't think that's going to impact the quarterback market at all, though.
No. First 3 years, $42 million a year. Must be nice. Play sports, boys.
Yeah. I got a couple quick other things I forgot to mention about the Big Ten. 136 of the 140 games were played. Nebraska at Purdue wasn't played.
Of course.
Michigan at Penn State. Indiana at Michigan. Michigan at Northwestern.
Yeah. No, Michigan. Thanks.
A little quick game for you. Will these guys be back next year?
Ooh.
Jason Bohannon.
Jordan Bohannon?
Yeah, my dad wrote down Jason.
That's a blast from the past. His brother.
All the Bohannons were at the game yesterday.
For his 9th year, I think Bohannon's probably back. I can't imagine why he wouldn't be, unless Fran's done with him.
These are all senior guards that I don't think have NBA futures. So.
Okay.
Brad Davison.
I would say he's probably back.
Trent Frazier.
There's rumors that he will be back, but I don't know.
Josh Langford.
For his 9th year,
all these guys have been in the league forever.
A long time. The Langford and Bohannons of the world, they might just be done with college because they've been there 6 years.
I think over college basketball, we're not going to see too many people come back that are our seniors.
Yeah,
I just don't see it.
It would make sense, especially the guys
unless
that have
you
been
think
there,
your
like
team
Langford.
can really do something special next year.
It'd be huge if Illinois got Trent Frazier back next year, but
Al Durham.
No.
And Geo Baker.
No, I can't believe he's a senior already.
I thought he was a junior.
Nah, I don't think he's back. That was a nice little game there.
Yeah, and To cap off our Big Ten talk, got some word association for you, all Big Ten related. I took a player for every single Big Ten team, either present or in the past. So Iowa, I'm going to alphabetical order. Adam Woodbury.
Adam eye poker.
Knew it.
Dockage hated him.
Illinois, James Augustine.
Baldy. She got absolutely screwed at that national championship game.
Knew that was coming.
I'm getting angry.
Knew that was Indiana, Will Sheehy.
Dirty. Flex.
Cocky. Yeah,
Cocky,
that's what I would have went with. Maryland's Mello Trimble.
He would do that head thing to get
Snap
foul
back.
calls, snap back.
Yeah,
Yep.
a little floppage. Michigan, Mo Wagner.
Brother's better.
Okay.
I don't even think that's true, though.
Mo was pretty darn
Mo's
good.
pretty dang good. Yeah.
He's having a decent pro career.
Yeah.
Cassius Winston from Michigan State.
Superstar. I mean, he's probably the best Michigan State player we've seen over the past however many years.
They've had a lot of them.
Yeah.
Minnesota, Jordan Murphy.
Dude was a beast rebounder. Dude grabbed every
Like
single
6'7",
rebound.
but he could not box
He
him
was
out.
a beast.
Nebraska, this was a hard one for me. James Palmer Jr.
Oh, man. Underwood was looking for his first ever Big Ten win, and they thought they got it. Finke hit a 3 to go up 2 with about 4 seconds left. Palmer comes down, double pumps, and banks into 3. Do you remember that at all?
He was a scorer, man.
Yeah. He was. He transferred from Miami, I remember.
Northwestern. Here's a name you probably haven't thought of in a while. Luka Mirkovic.
Oh, man, I hated that guy so much. I don't even have a word for you. He'd do that pump-up thing. It was terrible.
With his face mask.
Big fundamental.
Some of these names are really fun. Ohio State, Aaron Kraft.
Oh, man.
I almost went with Willie
Flop.
Buford, but
Laying on the ground after losing to Archie Miller's Dayton team in the
crafting.
NCAA tournament.
Here's one that you're going to love. Penn State, Taylor Battle.
Oh, man, Illinois killer. Jeez. I see him on their bench because he's an assistant coach, and I just start sweating. He's standing out by the logo. I'm like, oh, here it comes
I'll just
again.
never forget those battles they'd be with Pitt State. Like,
Every
it was
single
a
year.
whiteout at Bryce Jordan. He hit a shot. The whole arena would rush the floor. They play that Zombie Nation. And
Brutal.
Purdue, John Hart.
Oh. One good game in his career, and it came in Champaign against Illinois. Probably kept him out of the tournament that year.
That Purdue team was on a 3-game losing streak after being undefeated.
What year was that? Was that 10?
Yeah, that was a good team.
Kept Illinois out of the tournament that year.
They get a technical foul for putting John Hart in the game because he wasn't in the stat book. Then he has 14 points. Gets interviewed by Aaron Andrews after the game.
Man.
I almost went with a different one, but I was like, I gotta.
Were you thinking Ryan Smith?
Yep.
That's what I thought. I hated him too.
Rutgers, Geo Baker.
I don't mind Gio. Word for him. He can hop. You remember that dunk he had against Indiana last year?
Wisconsin, Sam Decker. My dog Elway must not like him.
Sam Decker. J.R. Smith hated him.
Did not know that.
Did you hear? You hadn't heard J.R. Smith's comments? J.R. Smith said he's hated one teammate in his NBA career, and it was Sam Decker.
I'm sure a lot have hated J.R. Smith in their NBA careers.
I know. So. I just thought it was funny that Sam Decker was the one guy that he hated.
Oh, that is wow. But the word association segment is brought to you by a new sponsor on the Tan and J-Man show, and that is Rhett Lee, attorney at law. Rhett Lee and the law office of Andrew Aki, LLC, are located at 206 4th Street in Logansport, Indiana. Rhett provides legal services to the people of North Central Indiana and practices criminal defense, family law, and personal injury. If you need a lawyer who cares about your results and will fight for you, call him today to schedule a free consultation at 574-722-2221.
I haven't done a Book It prediction yet, but this will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. Memphis will steal a bid and win the AAC Conference Championship.
I thought they got knocked out on the buzzer beater to Houston.
That wasn't their conference championship.
Oh, it was just a game?
Final game of the regular season, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yep, they kick off, the AAC kicks off their tournament Thursday.
My apologies.
They play Friday against TBD. But, Memphis is a bubble team. They're probably not going to be in unless they win the whole thing. And I keep hearing it's Rothstein, though. Now that I remember, I keep seeing that Memphis is going to be a team that steals a bid, and it's always Rothstein now that I think of that.
It's your guy.
J-Man's Booker Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Wottring for life, home, auto, renters, business, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.wottring@infb.com. He can now sell insurance in Ohio, and he has an app that you can check out.
Smooth-looking app, sharp-looking,
sir.
Easy to operate. Go check that out. And before we get to this On This Day segment, I want to remind everybody this episode is brought to you by The Damn Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, The Damn Landing is the place to be. The Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou that focuses on freshness and quality. And, of course, if you're in the mood for barbecue, or steaks, some kind of grilled meat, they got the Damn Smoke, which is available on every weekend. In addition to that, you can wash it down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Taking the fantastic views of Lake Manitou on their beer garden, or outdoor bar area, which is a great day to be out there today. Whether it be by boat or wheels, the Damn Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
I wonder if they have the beer garden open right now. Maybe tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 70 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's supposed to be pretty nice. So.
I don't know. Don't take my word for it.
The lake's unfreezing, isn't it? Pretty much. Or is it
It is completely thawed. You want to come over and cast some lines?
Yes.
I was hoping you'd say no. Because
I thought you'd say jump in. I'd rather fish and jump in. So
that's a good point. I don't like touching worms.
And the Tin and J-Man Show is also brought to you by Circle 15 Golf. Circle 15 Golf is a brand focused on bringing tour quality products and experience to the everyday golfer, like you and me, J-Man. It's built on 25 years of tour experience, featuring the Genesis glove, the most durable and comfortable glove available in the patented Glove Hub, the first and only glove humidor on the market. Find them and more details about their company at circle15golf.com. And I got to show off the products here. I got my Glove Hub right here with me to keep my glove nice and
I love that.
Comfortable, durable glove right here, the Genesis. And for everybody listening on the podcast, I love that. Got to do the rip of the Velcro. So they got bundles going on their website right now. So you can get 3 gloves in a bundle. You can get a glove and a glove hub. They got their Circle 15 snapback hats and flex fits. They got divot repair tools, ball markers, all kinds of things. So a lot more products coming out soon. So go check them out.
Real quick, who wins the ACC tournament?
I'll go Florida State, even though they've been struggling lately.
Give me Virginia. Big 12.
Baylor,
I agree. Big East. It's a tough one.
Not Villanova.
I was going to say Villanova lost their best player, Colin Gillespie, to a torn MCL.
I'm going to a team that needs it, Xavier.
I was just about to pick Xavier. I'm going to be a little different. Give me Creighton. Let's see. We have the SEC.
Goodness. I don't know who's good in the SEC this year. Is there a team really good that I should know about?
Alabama's 6th. Arkansas's 8th. First time Arkansas has been ranked in the top 10 since 95.
Give me Arkansas. I like Musselman.
Give me Alabama. Huge fan of NATO.
I know
Scared he's going to be at Indiana.
Wouldn't be shocked if Florida wins that conference.
Tennessee 17-7. LSU. It's a pretty good basketball conference this year. Pac-12.
USC.
I like that. They have one of the best draft prospects anyway. Oregon.
All right. Well, I better get to the On This Day segment real quick. Not a ton on this day. Sports events that's happened on March 8th. Let's see here. On this day in 1900, the NL decided to go with 8 teams. They exclude Baltimore, Cleveland, Louisville, and Washington. And then later in 1953, the Boston Braves moved to Milwaukee. On this day in 1930, Babe Ruth signed a 2-year contract for $160,000 with New York Yankee general manager Ed Barrow. He wrongly predicted that no one will ever be paid more than Babe Ruth.
That's $80,000 a year?
Yeah.
1930?
Yeah.
I'm looking it up. Inflation calculator.
Hmm.
And the internet's gone.
All right. On this day in 1936, the first stock car race was held in Daytona Beach, Florida. On this day in 1966, Casey Stengel was elected to the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame.
Pretty good one.
Let's see what else we got. On this day in 1971, Joe Frazier ended Muhammad Ali's 31-fight win streak at Madison Square Garden in New York City, retaining his heavyweight boxing title by unanimous point decision over 15 rounds in the fight that was called the Fight of the Century.
$1.2 million that contract Babe Ruth signed would be worth today.
On this day in 1986, Martina
Navratilova.
Thank you. It was the first tennis player to earn $10 million.
Wow.
And that's all I got. All the rest is ACC and SEC tournament. And I'm going to ignore that because we're a Big Ten conference podcast for the most part. But the On This Day segment is brought to you by Proforma Printhouse. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Printhouse has over 50 years combined experience of promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company. Give them a call today at 574-210-3815.
Oh, Johnny Elway. You did a good boy for the first 55 minutes.
He's had enough. He's ready to wrap this up.
Ready to go play out in the warm weather.
Yep.
A few baseball notes here. Actually, I don't have many baseball notes at all. A couple Cubs notes. Javi Baez hit his first homer of the spring today. He's hitting really well. Jock Peterson has 2 homers. Nico Horner, who they need someone to stand up and win the second base job. He's 9 for 13 on the spring, so he's looking awfully dang good.
Other quick notes I have. Bryson DeChambeau won the Arnold Palmer Invitational yesterday for his 8th career PGA Tour victory, 3rd since last July 2020. He's on a roll. He's what golf needs. Like him or hate him, you're fascinated by what the guy can do off the tee with a golf ball. I personally like him. He's a Puma Cobra guy, and I've said this many times. Ricky Fowler's my boy, but Cobra Puma's number one guy is Bryson. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, on the commercials, when it's him and Ricky, Ricky's first, then he's second. So maybe that drives him a little bit. Players Championship this week, J-Man, who you taking?
Rory in it?
Rory's in it.
I wish I would have saved my bucket for that one, but
he won it 2 years ago. I'm not picking Ricky, even though Rick's a past winner. He needs it because right now he's not in the Masters. Who am I going to go with? I don't have any idea. I didn't research anything. Let's go with John Rahm. Why not? I don't know.
Tom Izzo has the most wins in Big Ten tournament history with 32. Who has the second most?
I'm afraid I'm going to get this wrong, even though I had notes and was talking about it earlier. But I'm going with Thad Matta.
You are correct, unfortunately.
Give me a birdie. The only other guy I would have guessed was Bo Ryan.
No.
That was the only other one I would have guessed.
Thad Matta was 23-9. John Beeline had 21 wins, so it was pretty dang close.
Forgot about old Johnny boy.
They got hot towards the end of his tenure there.
Sure
in the Big Ten tournament.
Every year.
I think Bo Ryan had 16 or 17. He wasn't that great for whatever reason, even though they went to a couple championships early in his tenure, and they went to one late in his tenure as well. But, yeah, he didn't win a whole lot for whatever reason. Tanner is now up 4 strokes on me again.
What's that? 1 under par, and you're 3 over?
1 under par, 3 over. I've given you a lot easier questions, though, so...
Whatever makes you sleep at night, J-Man.
It does.
All right. Well, J-Man, wrap us up for episode 225 of the Tan and J-Man Show.
Thanks for watching. Live on the ISC Sports Network. That was a fun show.
It was.
We'll be back at it next Monday with our NCAA tournament preview.
Ready to wrinkle mine up and burn it already.
First one in 2 years we've been able to do. We
Yep.
weren't able to do it last year. We did get to preview the Big Ten tournament last year, but hopefully this year, which I think we have a pretty good shot, we're going to get through it.
I think so.
This year. I'm excited to see Selection Sunday, one of my favorites of the year that Illinois will be called finally in it. But yeah, thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show.
Buy some merch.
Buy some merch. Promo code Madness on, is it all caps?
All caps.
All caps Madness on our merch page. Get yourself some stuff. We will see you next Monday. Tan and J-Man Show Nation.
Out.